Hey guys, this is just a quick tutorial showing demonstrating a few things in 3ds Max that I find really useful. So I'm just gonna create a plane here to get started. Apply the edit poly modifier. I'm going to chamfer out this node here. There we go. And I will extrude this face down, something like that. So at this point, if I wanted this to appear more appear clean, like a bowl, like a clean circle or something of that sort, what I would do is apply the turbo smooth modifier, and it creates like a bolt-like effect, which is not what I want to demonstrate here. What I want to demonstrate is something with like a hard edge on that object. So one way you can do that is before I apply the that modifier, I could come in and maybe I could select my object and apply an edit poly again. And I think what I'll do is select here. So I'll just go to the top mode, select all of these. So you can see I have all those edges selected. And I'd come in and apply a chamfer modifier with maybe a couple of segments and make them real tight. So make them something like that. And so now when I apply the turbo smooth and a couple iterations, you can see that I have kind of a tight surface on my object there. Let me turn off the edge faces. It's not really circular the way I did this, but that's alright. I just wanted to demonstrate what I was getting at. And so you can see kind of like a chamfered edge there on the edge and the end. Another way to do that is using the OpenSubDiv tool, which I prefer because it allows me to maintain a very simple mesh like this, but gives me that complexity where I had to add a bunch of segments in between. Before, I don't have to do that. So in this case, I'm going to come in and select the Crease modifier, and I'm going to go to edge mode, select an edge, hit loop. Actually, I'm just going to do the same thing, go to top mode, and select all the edges. So you can see all my edges are selected again. And I'm going to create a set, increase the value all the way up, and hit OpenSubDiv. Then put in a couple iterations of the subdiv, and you can see that it had the same effect, but my mesh presents without the extra segments in between for the chamfer. So it's just a real clean presentation of this particular object. So that's one item I wanted to demonstrate. The second item I wanted to display is using the multiple cases of the symmetry modifier, which I think people are used to using the symmetry modifier for a very specific task. They click it once, and then they mirror their object over. Let me expand this. So they click it once, and then they mirror their object over. And so whatever they do on this side is affected on this side. What I don't think people realize is you could come in and you could rotate this gizmo. So you can see that you can create some pretty cool effects simply by rotating the gizmo. And so I'm going to come in and I'll apply edit poly again, apply another, whoops, I don't want to do that to my OpenSubDiv object. So what I'm going to do is delete my OpenSubDiv for now, just for this demonstration. So I'm going to go edit poly and symmetry again. This time I'm going to go in the Y direction, and I am going to move my axis. Whoops. Make sure you pick the gizmo. I'm going to move my axis in the Y direction. So in this case that way. And then again, I'm just going to rotate it. Whoops. So you can see as I rotate it, it's welding and slicing everything as it's supposed to, and which is the desired result. So I'm going to slide this back, and again, just edit poly, symmetry, and this time I'm going to go in the Z, and I will move this object. So you can see as I rotate it, everything, or as I move it, everything's welding and slicing together. you know, it's obviously doing the best it can. So I'm going to go Y again, move the axis all the way over, rotate it that way. I think that's okay. So that's another really cool feature with this software. Another important tool for modeling is this FF4D frame. It's basically a frame that's 4x4, so it creates 4 segments each way, and it gives you all these control points to work with. And so what you do is you come in with the control points, and you can select them and modify them, and it works. You know, as you can see, it just influences the object that you're modeling. And so this is one of the first things I learned in this software, but I don't think a lot of people in the architectural engineering world get a chance to kind of go through all these different options that are available in 3ds Max. And so that's kind of why I wanted to demonstrate these particular objects. And so you can see that I'm just manipulating these in any way that I really want, and influencing my object to take the shape that I want. So just so I can get some sort of effect out of it. So you can see that, you know, with a little bit of creativity, you can create something that looks pretty cool. A few more modifiers that I wanted to show off might be the Lattice modifier. So and that one's pretty straightforward. Gives you joints and struts if you want them both or none. Say I just want the struts only, and then you could increase the radius, decrease the radius, however you see fit. So I imagine in the architectural world you can create some really cool effects with that, some really cool graphics. The last one that I want to demonstrate is probably the bend modifier. So if you come in here and select bend, it allows you to bend your objects however you see fit. So you can select the y-axis, x-axis, z-axis, the direction of rotation if you want that 90 degrees to your object, and you could also limit the effects to, you know, how a percentage of your object, basically you can limit that. And so that's how you control that. So this is really kind of a really cool handy modifier to be able to generate some cool effects quickly. So I could come in, generate, rotate it that way, and without having to do a ton of work. So you can create some really interesting stuff. And so that's it, guys. That's all I wanted to demonstrate for this particular